Well, hello, this is John with Go Mobile. Today is a little bit different. Normally you see me working on semi-trucks, forklifts, tractors, and some cars and medium-duty pickups. But I also work on pretty much a little bit of everything. Today we have appears to be a mid-90s Harley, maybe early, well, 80s. Got the Shovelhead on it with a rigid frame. Customer states the bike dies about every 5 minutes when he goes to run out of town. I've been sitting here, I went to go kickstart. He tells me that the wiring's messed up and you have to jumper the starter to get to turn on and start. That's not going to work. We're going to eventually fix all the wiring. Don't know if you guys can see it. That's some of the wiring. These are very beautiful motorcycles. I just, they're vintage, so I like to keep them clean. Maybe a little factory. We'll probably build a box there, rewire it, make it clean, make it neat. Fix the throttle right up there. That's not correct, by no means. But we're going to start off with, well, I think we're going to start off with draining the fuel out of the bike, because we're going to have to remove the tank to fix the wiring before we can tackle the starter situation. But while we're draining the fuel out, we are going to test the fuel system to make sure we're not becoming vacuum locked in the tank, and to make sure that we don't have any restriction coming out, because you gotta have so many gallons per minute for a motorcycle to run or just not work. The customer also stated that he rebuilt the carburetor, so we'll tackle that when we can get the bike to turn over. It doesn't want to work correctly when you go to kick it. It's not, I don't think the ignition's working correctly, which we don't know. I gotta be able to check everything and run a spark chest on it and all that kind of fun jazz. So we'll start off with running a spark chest off the ignition, then remove the tank and check the fuel lines, see where that takes us. Oh, and we got to fix the handlebars. That's not safe. I won't release something unless it's safe. That's just me, especially with these two-wheel machines. If they're not safe, they'll kill somebody, and I'm not going to have that on my hands. So there we go. I'll keep you guys in touch with what happens and kind of fast forward some things through here so you guys kind of know what I'm doing, and we'll go from there. Well, okay. Like I said,
we're tackling the fuel system right now. I don't know if you guys can see it. Right here. I got my thing. I like to try to keep the fuel coming out about where the carburetor is. Just check it. Okay, can you see that? A little bit of trickle down flow. That is with it in the run cycle. Don't know if you guys can see that. See how little flow that goes? Now, if we go over to the reserve, real quick. Like, oh, reserve. Now, look at the difference in that flow. That's telling me that the petcock has got debris in it. Oh, it's starting to slow down. That's also telling me the vent's not working correctly on the tank. Yep. We're coming up with multiple problems. Multiple.
well, this is John. I had a couple minutes of break before the weather goes, so I thought today I'm going to address one of the oil leaks on this old Harley that I've been working on for a friend, and then check the jetting on his carburetor to see what's going on. I see he's got a vacuum line off. Some other things I noticed, the carburetor has been running a little rich according to it, but he does have a major oil leak right there off one of his push tubes. But we're gonna open that up and take a look inside there and see what we got. This thing looks like it's leaking oil everywhere, and obviously, as I was checking for pressure on the back, I noticed he does not have any reverse or rear brakes. and that is because the hose is broken. But today we're going to address that. We're going to address the battery issue. We're going to get some things going. I'm going to try to start it and run it a little bit today and see how it is. But for me to do that, I need to get the tank on it. I shouldn't have to pull the heads. The wiring's all done. On these, if it's got the proper or the updated push tubes, I can just turn the motor over, adjust them. There should be an adjustment down here. Adjust them, suck them in to replace the tube. But we'll see what we got. See what's going to go on. First, I got to take the air compressor, fire it up, and build some air pressure to blow all this good stuff off from it sitting. Get that going. See if I have any ferrules for these brake lines. Because no matter what people tell you, brakes are very, very, very important on a motorcycle. Yes, it does have really good front brakes. But rear brakes are a nice thing to have if you have to do a panic stop. But as you can tell, it's got multiple issues. Just got done double checking the starter. Got everything fired up, got everything running. Notice there is no crankcase vent on this. There. I repaired one right there. Now this one's leaking. Bike runs, does good, but leaks oil right now. So we're going to get that going. I'm going to get the fuel tank reservoir cleaned out. Found a little bit of debris and the tube in the reserve. We're going to go ahead and address that real quick, get that taken care of so it runs better, because a lot of times people forget that uplook fuel tank. And when you do that, there's some things you got to do to the fuel tank. A lot of people forget about these things. When the tank is laid flat like this, the pickup is at the lowest point. But if you take your tank and you raise it up like this, guess where that pickup is? Now it's at the medium of the tank. And then you add an insert and a tube on there for the return or the reservoir, and then it's up here. So when you're cruising down the road and that tank is sloshing around, you're sucking, well, you're not sucking nothing. You're just not getting any fuel to it. So what I do on my bikes when I have them like this is I plate the bottom of the tank and I drill a new reservoir port and put the reservoir at the bottom of the tank. Now, call me crazy or nothing, but fuel usually goes to the bottom. This bike here, might have to do that. I'll speak with the customer. He doesn't want me to spend too much money on it, or time. So we'll see what it is, because the modified tank, weld the plate in it, drill it out, tap it, all that kind of fun jazz. You're looking at a pressure test it. You got to seal it. You don't want hot fuel, or I shouldn't say hot fuel. You don't want fuel running down the side of this engine when you're in operation. It could ruin your day. It could ruin your bike. It could ruin your blue jeans. So, like I said, anytime you do that, you got to pressure check it. And as you can tell by this tank, the reservoir, the feed out right there, you see that tube that comes up in there? Well, I already cleaned that tube out. It had a little bit of debris in it. But when those tubes are that high up in there, plus the way this tank sits, now the funny thing is, sitting on this board is roughly the angle that this tank rides, roughly about like that. So I don't know if you guys can see it. Yep, you can see it. There it is. So if you guys do just checking, this tank has to be at least halfway full to get fuel into itself. And no fuel gauge, that means the guy's just looking in there, sloshing the fuel around, goes, oh yeah, I got fuel up to here. You know, up to there, it's fine. Well, if it's up to there, you lay it the way the fuel sets, that's barely on. You're already on your reserve. You already got a gallon in a tank that you cannot use. So we'll see what he wants to do real quick. And we'll give him a call and take a look at it. Okay, talk to you there.